Okay, hello everyone. We are back. Let me close the door before I forget. There, that's better. Okay. So, welcome back to Workshop with Thursday. Special workshop day. I wanted to come back and do a special episode about the mask that we made yesterday out of paper mache. I wanted to show you what happened to it. This is it. The aluminum foil fell right out of it. And this is the completed mask, which looks pretty darn good. You can see all the various pieces here. It's dry. You know, there's a little bit of dampness here and there, but it's. Can you hear that? It's solid, and it's quite. It's relatively thick. Certainly thick enough for what I'm looking for. It wouldn't last very long in the rain or anything. And if you really tried to crumple it, you could do it very, very easily. This is pretty flexible. I think that's actually good. You'll notice there are some areas where the paper sort of folded over. It didn't lay exactly flat. That's not too surprising. There's a particular point right up here. You may notice where there's a little bit of a paper sticking out. So that's not ideal. I don't know the best way of solving that. Maybe I could grab some a little bit of water and glue and go back over that and sort of, push it down. But for now, I'm okay. So what I'm going to do today, or tonight, is I'm going to take this mask. So here's what it looks like. Not too bad, kind of interesting. And I'm going to trim all the sides. And then I want to paint it just a base white and see what that looks like. I'll probably add multiple other colors to it, but I just want to get an idea of what this looks like straight up white. Maybe I'll do a wash on it. I have some other ideas for what I want to do in terms of colors, but at least we'll get started with something like that. So let me grab some scissors. And I'm going to trim this into a slightly more more elegant shape. I don't want something quite this weirdly shaped. And of course, you could certainly keep it ragged. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I'm going for here. So I'm just basically trimming this, and I'm not trying to get this exactly even all the way around either. Just want to get this a little more trimmed. It's cutting pretty easily. No worries there. Yeah, that's. I can just cut that down like that. Ooh. Okay. That tear is not exactly what I wanted. Okay. And then cut that down to there. And that's pretty even. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, not too bad. It looks like I'm uneven here. So this could come. I think the mask itself is uneven. It comes in a little bit more here, so it's a little bit closer in. So I could actually. I could trim out more of that. Okay. How does that look? That's a little more even. Okay. We can start there with a mask. That's pretty good. I also want to punch holes in here for the strap. I'll just add Velcro like I mentioned. So we got here. How should I do that? I need to punch a hole. Let's see here. I'm going to go grab a utility knife. So I think a utility knife punched in on the sides will do exactly what I need here. So I'm just gonna do that. How does that feel in terms of... Yeah, I wanted to go above my ears if possible. So perhaps we go a little bit higher. And then go next to that. Do 2 parallel lines. I want to be careful here because this is... Perhaps I can do it that way. Definitely does not want to cut very easily. And I'm afraid if I'm too... There we go. I don't want to, punch through and punch my fingers. That would be bad. Okay. So I'm just going to cut out bits here and here. There we go. So there's a slot there. And I'll do another one over here. Is that about even? That's a little higher probably, so I can go down to there. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Then we do another one over here. Wonder if I go down a little bit on that side. There we are. Just getting used to how this particular instrument does its thing. This is a very particular kind of material, so it takes some getting used to. Put that off there. Put that there. Okay, we got 2 slots. I think that'll do. I'll have to trim my my Velcro to size, but I think I can make that happen. Can I cut out a bit more of this mask? Alright, so that's that. It'll be interesting to see how this feels for a lot of length of time being worn. I just don't know. I'm also not sure about the head, the top of that, whether I want to keep that as it is. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so that's that. I'm also going to just, try to trim off some of these more odd bits. Don't know what's the best way of doing that. Let me just grab some sandpaper. So I've got some coarse grit sandpaper, which might be overkill. What happens when I use that here? Yeah, that sands down some of those problematic places. I'm looking to basically tear off those pieces of paper that are kind of, just flapping in the breeze. And that does seem to be helping somewhat. Don't want to go too crazy on this, or I'm afraid I'll sand through. There aren't that many layers of paper here. And also this does tend to create its own slightly torn up feel. So I'm okay there with that as a starter point. Let's see what happens if I try to shave off this. So you have this sort of knobby protrusion here I don't really like. It's just paper layered over. Just didn't get a chance to dry in a really good layer. But yeah, see, I'm going almost all the way through the newspaper there. So I'm going to stop there. We've shaved down a bit, but we're down to like one layer of newspaper. So now let's try. Just going to cover this with with some white acrylic paint. Let's make sure we're appropriately covered. That to the side. There's my thing. There's my paintbrush. So I am now going to quite simply take some white paint and start covering this with white paint and see what happens. See what kind of coverage we get, what kind of sense we get out of the mask. Yeah, we're definitely getting some. Yeah. So there are some areas where it's very clear we have these large seams with the paper. And so that's definitely a skill I would do well to learn how to mask better, so to speak. That's okay. We'll just see what we get. And like I said, the final color of the mask will not be white, I don't think. At the very least, I'll do like an off-white. But I just want to get a kind of a base coat on here to get a feel for what the mask will look like, you know, without newspaper print all over it. And just, honestly, just see how much of the seams the paint covers. That's one of my big questions. Whether this will look more like a regular mask, whether it'll still look like pieces of a newspaper covering each other. Thus far, this is looking better. We're definitely looking like this is more a usable thing. It's looking like it's hiding a lot of those seams. So I'm happy with that. Yeah. Now the wet paint is making the newspaper a little wet. So I'm just realizing that I don't want to be too thick with the paint, or this will end up becoming soft again. On the other hand, once this layer dries, it should be a layer that will sort of protect the next layer of things. So it'll form kind of a seal, hopefully. Okay, what have we got? That's interesting. Okay. I think we've got a pretty, a decent first layer. We want to go back over that. So there's the mask painted in white. I'm not displeased with this. Obviously, there's this, I don't know how you can see, but there's, yeah, so that strip of newspaper is pretty obvious, and I don't know how to solve that. There are a few other spots where you can kind of see where there's newspaper there. A bit right there, you can see. But overall, it's not bad. Again, it might be one of those things where multiple layers of thick paint would smooth that over, but that's okay. So this is sort of step 2 in the mask. And like I said, I think I'm just going to let this, I'm going to give it a bit more coverage down here. Let this dry as a first layer, then I'll come back at some other point and do the second layer. And even that will just be sort of a base coat to get it started, and then I'll actually paint it with some kind of design, probably a matte design of some kind. Just little dots and lines between them, and streams and mountains and such. We'll see. All right, that's part 2 of the mask. Hope you found this useful. And until next time, make something.